You think you own what you create. You think if an idea originates inside your brain, if you type every letter, write every line of code, or draft every page of your business strategy, you think it belongs to you. You're wrong. Right now, an invisible shift is happening across global tech infrastructure that could mark the beginning of the end of digital property rights.
So this is specialized code that is going to be interwoven into any AI output from an Anthropic model. This is not necessarily something that you or I could see with our human eyes. This is rather like a little red flag for computers to look at when they're trying to evaluate whether something is AI generated or not. Anthropic says that this is going to be baked into every forthcoming model that they launch from here on in, and they're in the process of retroactively adding this to existing models as well. It's not quite out yet, but will be coming, they say, in the next couple weeks and months here. So it is a pretty big shift in how people think about how AI is used and deployed, and of particular interest, not just to the publishing industry, but to other industries as well. Things like, education sectors and so on and so forth are really going to be paying a lot of attention to this.
Anthropic has rolled out model-level invisible text watermarking across Claude, and they've done so globally. To comply with the European Union's AI Act, every single piece of text generated or processed by their models is now stamped with an imperceptible statistical machine tag at the token level, a digital barcode woven directly into the syntax. And if you think you're going to just avoid this by avoiding Claude, remember it's a European Union law, so all of the AI companies will adhere to this. Now, this watermark travels even when you copy and paste, and it also survives edits. When you feed your original 100% human-created work into Claude, just to say fix a typo or reformat a paragraph, or let's say you just want to clean up some of the language, that invisible stamp is going to lock onto your file. When an AI corporation invisibly tags your thoughts, who actually controls your business, your career, and your wealth?
So how do you hide a watermark in just plain text? There's no secret characters, no metadata. Well, the watermark is the word choices or combinations of word choices throughout a piece of AI generated text. So when an LLM processes language, it doesn't really see words. It just sees tokens, these building blocks of language, and each token has an ID number. So the word great in GPT-5, for instance, is token number 67530. And when AI writes, at every step it's choosing the next token from a short list of good options. Maybe great, brilliant, and excellent would all work, but in the background, Claude will consistently choose certain types of numbers over others, and these choices over a long piece of text would never show up by coincidence, so a detector will be able to confidently say this is written by AI. So the first thing to say about evading detection in a system like this is that you could write shorter snippets of text, because detectors can't be quite as sure about spotting those patterns across just a few lines, but when it sees that pattern consistently across a full page, it's unmistakable, and the chances of that being an accident are now astronomically small. And it's a clever system, because you would never notice it. It won't degrade or change the quality of the writing, but the detector will immediately spot AI writing and anything else it produces, like documents, images, and files, very easily. And yes, Anthropic says that detection tools are coming, so teachers, employers, publishers, anyone will be able to check text for this watermark. And some of the usual methods that people use to evade AI detectors won't work. So if you use a prompt in your AI, like humanize this text, or some people like speak out loud the text back into their computer, or even just manually edit the text, the watermark will probably still survive all of those methods. And one issue that we're going to have is that even when people write something completely themselves, but then get AI to proofread and correct that, there's a possibility that this watermark could even show up there, because if there's an opportunity for the AI in the proofreading to just tweak a few word choices, then again it can insert that pattern that an AI detector would see and say this was written by AI.
Has AI made ownership an illusion? Now, if you read the fine print in Anthropic's terms of service, they tell you straight up, You own the output. That sounds comforting, it sounds reassuring, but in the real world of courts and intellectual property law, copyright law, it's actually a dangerous trap. So, under established copyright law, AI generated content cannot be legally protected. Only pure human created effort qualifies for copyright protection. So, imagine this scenario. You write a 50-page proprietary software script or a unique financial algorithm. You spend 3 weeks building it from scratch, but before deploying it, you run it through Claude to check, say, for formatting errors. That large language model delivers it back. It looks clean, but embedded deep inside the token spacing is a machine readable signature, an invisible contamination, if you will. That watermark acts as a beacon telling automated detection engines, AI process this. When a competitor steals your software or business plan and you try to sue them in court, their legal team runs your file through a watermark detector. The moment that tag lights up, your claim to human authorship is legally compromised. And at best, you spend lots more money defending your claim and proving that you are indeed the original author. And that might not be enough. You may ultimately lose ownership. Who knows how things work out in the court of law? And you wouldn't have lost that ownership because Anthropic stole it. You lost ownership because you can no longer defend it in a court of law as a copywritten, original, human created piece of work. Now, if you want to see how dystopian this really can get, let's take a look at how it might play out in academia. Imagine you're a doctoral candidate. You spend 8 months writing an original research paper. You don't use AI to write a single sentence, but right before submitting it to the peer-reviewed journal, you use Claude to fix 3 misplaced commas and format your bibliography. Boom! Your original research is now permanently tagged. When you upload your paper to academic screening portals, the detector flags the model level watermark. The algorithm doesn't care that you wrote the paper. It only sees the tag. You're accused of academic dishonesty. Your grant funding is pulled. Your career is at best stalled.
Anthropic's Claude is going to be watermarking everything that it creates. And my first reaction was, that's not possible. Here's the news. I just learned about it yesterday. The European Union basically has passed a law, and Anthropic's Claude is going to basically somehow encode all the words that it generates with a secret hidden symbol. And it's going to be something that only a machine can detect. And I thought to myself, well, how's that possible? Good luck with that. That's what I thought. And then I started interacting with some people, and I learned that the way it's going to work likely is that statistically, the second most likely word will be the word that's created in the text output, and humans won't know the difference because there won't be anything but words, and it makes sense to the logical mind. But AI will be able to do some math and figure it out. And someone asked me on social media, I was tagged in on a LinkedIn post, what do you think about that? And I said, good luck enforcing that. But now I realized it actually is enforceable. And I thought to myself, okay, well, this impacts me. This impacts a lot of us, right? I use AI to take the transcripts from this and write the captions. I use AI to write headlines. I use AI to write persuasive emails, sales pages, YouTube titles, articles based on interviews, all the stuff. And I thought to myself, okay, does it matter if the whole world will be using AI to improve their work here in the coming months and years? And by the way, most marketers are using AI every day already. Does it really matter if all of our work is somehow encoded with the fact that it was generated with AI? And here's where I'm landing on this. I don't think it matters. As a matter of fact, I'm like, who cares? Like, think about this. If you use AI to do spell check, if you use AI to slightly enhance something, to edit something, the fact of the matter is it's going to somehow be encoded. And that encoding will be detectable. And if we use AI for work, and that's what I'm focused on here, who cares? Who cares? Who cares?
This gentleman's attitude is indicative of us saying ownership no longer matters. Now, I'm not sure if you agree with him. I certainly do not. And I don't think he has thought this through to its furthest extent. For example, let's take a look at how this actually might be weaponized against your personal finances and your business interest. If you build a startup, your valuation relies on your defensible intellectual property. If a venture capital firm or some other buyer conducts technical due diligence and they find your core code base or product blueprints are saturated with third party model watermarks, your company valuation collapses because your software isn't copyright protected. If you find yourself in a scenario like that, you may actually have another problem. Since you can't defend your intellectual property as copywritten, the funders you were, seeking money from, and they may just decide that since it's not copywritten and since it's gone through AI, they can actually take portions of that idea and incorporate it on their own and not include you. Imagine if you're a consultant, developer, or freelancer who signs a non disclosure agreement. The moment you paste a client's private data or trade secrets into a cloud large language model, you leave a permanent statistical footprint. If that client runs an audit and discovers their internal data carries an AI watermark, you could be exposed to breach of contract lawsuits. Search engines and digital platforms, they're quietly updating algorithms to deprioritize watermarked content. So if you use an LLM to edit your business blog, market copy, or in some way market a digital storefront, an invisible tag can cause your organic traffic and your revenue to vanish overnight. When infrastructure turns against individual ownership, that's what we're looking at here. How do we combat this? How do we turn the tables and secure our intellectual property? One thing we can do is what's called air gapping master files. So keep clean, local, time-stamped versions of your original human work before any digital tool touches it. You're going to have to create a paper trail that you can use defensively. If you need to edit confidential code, sensitive spreadsheets, or research, you're going to have to stop using public cloud models. You're going to have to run open source models locally on your own machine. Local models leave zero watermarks, transmit zero data, and keep your IP under your ownership. If you must use cloud-based APIs, operate strictly under enterprise contracts with explicit zero data retention and non-marking clauses. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're entering a whole new era where you can either have convenience or you can have ownership of your intellectual property. So we're going to have to change our behavior in order to protect ourselves. If you don't actively protect your intellectual property rights today, you could be in danger of losing them tomorrow. You don't want that to happen because that is value that you can use to monetize or bequeath or do whatever the hell you want to with it. Let me know what you think in the comments. We are navigating this new economy to make sure that we don't just become flotsam and jetsam in this sea of advancement. Elon Musk, Anthropic, Jeff Bezos, they're not the only ones that are going to thrive this economy. We are as well.